Hi, folks. Welcome back to week 5 of the NFL picks for the VegasDon channel. This is all for entertainment purposes only. No gambling involved whatsoever. Last week we went 8-8. We were actually 3-8 after the early games last Sunday. So had a respectable bounce back there with 5-0 in the late session and then Monday night as well. So then we also that brings us to 36-28 for the season so far. So a respectable, anything over 500 I think is good. But again, we don't do gambling and we don't do against the spread at all. So for those that do it, then that do bet against the spread, good luck, because that's really difficult. Let's get to it. Tonight actually will bring us the Bears of Chicago at the Washingtons of Washington. The line is 6 in favor of Washington. It seems like a very fat line. There's actually a 45-point over-under on this one. I'm going to go with the home team here, Washington. I just don't know that they're going to be able to cover all 6, but definitely take Washington at home. And then Sunday's early game from Wembley at 6:30 a.m. here Pacific is going to be the Jaguars of Jacksonville at the Buffaloes of Buffalo. The Buffaloes are favored by 5.5 points. I really think they'll cover. I don't think they'll have a problem with Jacksonville, even though it's overseas across the pond there. I think Buffalo will definitely be able to prevail in that one. And then we move into the early games, the 1 p.m. games, that is, for the NFL on Sunday. You have Houston at Atlanta. Definitely going to take Atlanta. I know Houston has had they're 2-2 for some reason. I don't know how that happened. I've been betting against them, but I'm going to go again and bet up against them again. Atlanta's favored by 1.5. I would take them with those points as well. They got Younghoe Koo. He's a great field goal kicker, and they do tend to keep very close games with him on the line there, ready to go out there and kick the game-winning field goal. So I'm going to go with Atlanta there. Carolina at Detroit. Definitely going to take Detroit. Carolina's they're winless. They're 0-4. The line on the game is 44, and Detroit is favored by 10. That's a fat line, especially for Detroit. But evidently Vegas is seeing that Detroit is 3-1, and they're coming out strong. So I'm going to take Detroit. I don't know if I would take the points, but I am definitely going to take Detroit at home. And then you have Tennessee at Indy. That's going to be a tough one to pick. Tennessee has actually played. They wowed the world last week. They're 2-2. The Colts are 2-2 as well. Over-under on this one's 43, and the Titans are actually favored by 2.5. I'm going to go out on a limb here and go for the upset and say that the Colts will prevail at home here. I bet against Tennessee to my own detriment and at my own peril earlier this year, but I'm going to go with the Colts on this one. And then the Giants of New York at the Dolphins of Miami. And of course, being a Dolphin fan, I'm always going to be a little bit partial when it comes to this, but the line on this one is actually 12, which for Miami, in favor of Miami. Seems like a lot, but New York just imploded there on Monday night against Seattle. We all saw that. So over-under on this one's 47.5. It looks like they're anticipating some Tua scoring a lot there in that one. So I'm going to go with Miami. I don't know if I'd take the points, but I'll definitely take Miami in that one straight up. New Orleans at New England, the Battle of the News. You've got a line of 39.5 here. They're not expecting a very high-scoring game here. New England's actually favored by 1 at home. This one's tough. I'm gonna go out on a limb again and go with New Orleans. I think that they're going to be able to prevail against a weakened Patriots team, weakened than they already were on the basis of their defensive injuries. So I'm gonna go with New Orleans on that one. Baltimore at Pittsburgh. Baltimore's a 4.5 point favorite here. That's very surprising. And the over/under on this one's 38. So 38 for this one. They're expecting a low scoring game for this. I'm going to take Baltimore though. I think Baltimore will certainly prevail. That'll make them 3-0 in the division on the road if they win at Pittsburgh on Sunday. And I'm going to bet that they do that and go with Baltimore. Late games on Saturday. We have Philadelphia at the Rams, the defending NFC champs. I'm going to take the champs and go with them on the road at the Rams. Even though they're on the road, that stadium, SoFi Stadium, tends to be full of a lot of visiting teams' fans. So I don't know if the home field advantage is going to be all that overwhelming for the Eagles. The Eagles are favored by 4.5. I can see this being like a 3-point game, but over under a 50. So they're expecting some scoring in this one, but I am going to go with the Eagles. Cincy at Arizona. This is a tough one. Cincy's actually favored by 3-0 as a 1-3 team. over under 44.5 in this one. I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to hope that Arizona can do what they did against the Giants at home the last time they played at Arizona, and they can just demolish Cincinnati there at home. And then you have the Jets at Denver. Definitely going to take Denver in this one. Denver's favored by 2.5. The blind spread doesn't bother me at all. Total over under 43.5. I think that Denver will prevail just beautifully at home there against the flying fast airplanes there. Kansas City at Minnesota. This one is tough too. The line in this one is only 3.5 for KC. I would think it would ordinarily be a little fatter than that, but I'm going to go with KC. KC on the road here. Patrick Mahomes. And the Vikings just haven't looked. I mean, someone had to win that game last week between them and the Panthers. So I'm going to take KC in this one. And then Dallas at San Fran. This is kind of the glamour pick of the week. Over under of 45 in this one. So not a whole lot of scoring. I mean, it's better than being in the 30s for sure. But San Fran's favored by 4. I'm gonna go with San Fran on this one. That home crowd there they have in San Fran. It's going to be loud and boisterous, and I think they're going to just completely obliterate Dallas. Monday night brings us a very intriguing pick. The Green Bay Packers against the Raiders of Las Vegas. Raiders are favored by 1 in this one against Davante Adams' former team there in the Packers of Green Bay. Over under 44.5. I'm compelled to go with the home team in this one. They have the big stage. It's Monday night. They're going to want to show the world that they're not as bad as they seem to be. Josh McDaniels is kind of on the hot seat too, the head coach of the Raiders. So I'm going to take the Raiders at home here. Thanks for joining, everyone. Again, totally for entertainment purposes only, and we'll see how we come out on the other side. See you next week.